So this is a review for Scaredy Cat. And speaking of Scaredy Cat, with me today is my good friend Manny Cruz. Say hi.
Meow.
So this was released on the 18th of December 1948, the last one of the year, in fact. There was a Blue Ribbon reissue on the 2nd of June 1956. It's the 543rd in the series, and it's directed by Chuck Jones. So this is a very hard cartoon to find. I mean, it's only on the Looney Tunes Gold Collection Volume 1, the Platinum Collection Volume 1, and on HBO Max. So it's almost lost media, as you can clearly see. But I know just about everyone's seen this cartoon, but Manny, for those who haven't seen it, because there's always going to be someone who has not seen it, what happens in this wonderful cartoon?
Excuse me. Sorry, I'm not speaking catties anymore. All right. So in this cartoon, Porky, along with his cat Sylvester, go to a house to stay for the night. While Porky finds the place to be quaint, Sylvester sees that a bunch of fiendish mice are out to get him and Porky. Despite Sylvester's efforts to save Porky, Porky does not believe that there is anything wrong.
Just a few bits of trivia for this. Now, firstly, Sylvester actually is first named here in this cartoon.
Welcome to our new home, Sylvester.
I mean, he's appeared before, but he wasn't actually named. Although in one cartoon he was referred to as Thomas, but here he's actually called Sylvester. And this is in fact the first Chuck Jones Sylvester short as well. And this short is also the first in, an unofficial trilogy, consisting of a Porky and Sylvester team-ups, where they're in some sort of a spooky setting, where Sylvester only realizes the danger, and of course Porky is oblivious. Though this is the only short where he actually realizes the danger at the end, versus the other two where he remains oblivious until the very end. And there's one celebrity reference at the end.
Hey, look out! Pussycats is the craziest people.
He's imitating Lulia, who was a writer and comedian at the time, and weirdly enough, it's been a fair while since they've referred to this person, so I was very surprised. I mean, were you surprised at that reference at the end?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming, and you know what happens when you assume, but I think this is the last time that I could think of in a Warner Brothers cartoon that Lulia appeared in it, because when I think of him, I think of cartoons in the pre-1948 package, or I think of, all the times that he was made fun of in the black and white Looney Tunes. But I think going past this one, I can't think of any other cartoon that made fun of him. And again, it's been a while since I could think of, cats is the craziest peoples, or whatever catchphrase he has for that particular cartoon.
Which is the voice you use when you order coffee, isn't it? Woohoo, I'll have this coffee. Well, I don't know. That's awful. That's really bad.
And that's when they call the cops on me, so yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Coffee baristas are the craziest people. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, close enough.
Anyway, enough about Lulia. We're here to talk about this wonderful cartoon, although we could probably make a podcast on Lulia. But anyway, this is an interesting cartoon for many, many reasons. And perhaps the most interesting is that this has a version of Sylvester that's mute, which shows how versatile Sylvester is. But there's a lot of pantomime here, which I think is fantastic. But the weirdest thing for me, and I wonder if you agree with me on this, because I know Sylvester can talk, as he can in other cartoons, you sort of go, why don't you tell Porky what's wrong? I'm sure, he may not believe you, but at least it's easier than you acting everything out, as wonderful as the animation is. But that doesn't detract from the cartoon. I just thought it was weird. I mean, what do you think?
I really got to give Chuck Jones a lot of credit in this cartoon, because this cartoon, again, like you said, it shows how versatile Sylvester is, and he's been in the fourth most amount of cartoons, and of all the Warner Brothers characters, Bugs, Daffy, and Porky are the ones that beat him. But I just enjoy the fact that, Sylvester is a normal cat in this cartoon. yeah, we think of him with the big lisp and the sloppy voice, but it just makes the cartoons that much more interesting. And at the same time, this was in the process where Chuck Jones was revamping Porky because, I know that a lot of directors were burnt out by, especially, Bob Clampett and Frank Tashlin, that they were burnt out by Porky in the 30s and 40s. But I liked how Jones, and you could also give credit, to Michael Maltese as well, that they helped give new life to Porky by making him that oblivious pet owner, but at the same time where he has a habit of being kind of grouchy. And you'll see that in other cartoons like, The Awful Orphan and stuff like that. Jones was good at reinventing characters. And like I said, he did it here with Sylvester and Porky, and probably most infamously or most famously how he reinvented Daffy with the Hunters trilogy in the 50s. He really does make things a lot more interesting, and I got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, for sure. Although I wonder if this is also a reinvention of Hubie and Bertie, because all those mice just look like Hubie and Bertie, probably that they're evil relatives or something. Just he's got that standard mice design that he uses. But let's go through some of our favorite scenes. I mean, first of all, who doesn't love the birdhouse scene?
It's cold. Get up and close the window, Sylvester. Like a good kitty.
I'm sure you and I have been at one point half asleep where we're told to, I don't know, turn off the heat or whatever, and then we do something else thinking we've done it and then go back to sleep. This even is like a precursor for what Chuck will end up doing with the Roadrunner cartoons. And, how they don't realize, hey, there's gravity. Uh-oh.
You read my mind on that one because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, that is definitely, when Sylvester falls, that's definitely Wile E. right there.
Yep. Can we just speculate, what on earth did the mice do to Sylvester in that one scene? I mean, I have to give him credit. It works so well that, and of course it would have been easy for him instead of coming up with some weird gadget or whatever that they're torturing him, but just the fact that, for 4 hours nearly, they're obviously doing something really bad to him, and then he's all white coming out of it. I mean, what did they do to him? And as Eric Goldberg points out in his audio commentary, which I encourage everyone to listen to, in fact, anytime he talks, definitely listen. He's an interesting fella. But he points out how, and this is a wonderful touch, that they put the white over the black, so eventually the white disappears later on in that scene where they're going down the stairs, which I thought was a very nice touch. I thought that was pretty good. But what do you think the mice did to this poor cat?
Well, I was telling you before we recorded, but the scene when Sylvester appears at the door and the only dialogue he delivers in the entire cartoon cracks me up every single time I see that scene. But
and
going
expression.
back, just beautiful posing and just the greatest cat me. And I'm not even a cat person. I love dogs, and I will say, cats over dogs any day of the week. You yellow dog of a cowardly cat, you, as Porky would say. But I'm thinking, going back to the beginning of the cartoon, when you see the mice preparing the execution, and of course you hear Frederick Chopin's funeral march playing in the background.
Of
But
course.
I'm guessing, well, that scene right there, the cat, it's one of the most disturbing scenes in Looney Tunes history, because the cat, you genuinely see dread and fear in his face, and you have no gag after. You have no idea what happened to that cat. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
guessing what made Sylvester turn white was he might have seen some crazy stuff happen to that cat based from those mice. So you can leave it all to your imagination, but the mice finally got their revenge on that putty tat.
Yeah, and speaking of imagination, I love how at the beginning of the short, it sets up the mood so well. It's similar to what Chuck would end up doing with some of his westerns, how he would have all these different angles, when he would parody a western film. Here, he parodies the haunted house sort of horror thriller type film so well, setting up the mood, and then contrasting that, you've got Porky. It's like, hey, it's a quaint little place, being so positive. It's so good. It's so good. And the danger with some of these shorts that you see so many times, and let's face it, a lot of us have seen this short countless times. We don't want to go, oh, it's this one yet again. I'm studying this one and I'm just like, wow, this short is genuinely good. Maybe overplayed, yes.
Yeah.
but it's so darn good. Just as good as when Sylvester breaks off a tree branch and then just uproots the whole tree with his newfound courage and strength. Just like Popeye eating his spinach. But
speaking of music, I mentioned before that, yeah, you definitely hear Chopin's Funeral March. There's another piece from Frederick Chopin. You hear the Waltz Number 2 in A minor. You do hear a little bit of Raymond Scott, Dinner Music for a Pack of Hungry Cannibals. The sound effect when Sylvester pops out of the umbrella in the beginning of the cartoon, the whoop, or what, I think it's one of the Bob Clampett sound effects that he did, always cracks me up. I first saw this cartoon, I think, on Cartoon Network sometime in like the early 2000s when I first got into Looney Tunes research. But I thank goodness for DVDs, thank goodness for Blu-ray and HBO Max, because I had to consult the former censored Looney Tunes page that used to be on the old Golden Age cartoons forums. Matt Hunter, John Cook, those guys had that developed. But there's two scenes that I never saw on television until I got them on DVD were gun related. So the first one is when Sylvester's pleading his case and Porky doesn't want to hear it, and Sylvester pulls out a gun and tries to commit suicide. So that scene was cut from Cartoon Network. And the other one was when Porky, he's talking to Sylvester, and one of the mice appears right behind him from a pot, and he shoots him, and Porky manages to lean over, and he misses. And I just love Porky's oblivious response. Mice. And again, just how naive and how jolly Porky is in this cartoon, while being a grumpy pet owner, because I have a dog, you have a cat, you know how pets can be.
Exactly,
it is what
right.
it is.
But since when do mice shoot a gun? Like, that's why I thought it was just so funny. Just, why would you assume it's a mouse? I don't know.
Oh, and speaking of that, I mean, now that you mention it, just I love the part where Porky's walking. He closes the door, a bunch of knives hit the door, and then there was, I think, like a guillotine that came by or something similar to that, and then an
From
axe,
underneath,
and then
yeah.
the gun. Yes, from underneath, and I'm just like, it's just Jones was mastering the art of just piling one gag on top of the other, and it's like, of course, he went on to do even greater things to that effect with Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, because that scene over there, right there, too, la-di-da, nothing's happening. Oh, look, there's a bunch of knives and an axe that almost killed me 5 seconds ago.
Yes, exactly. But as we slowly wind this one down, I mean, in terms of rating, I give this one a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's an absolute classic. It's not my favorite, but studying it for the review versus watching it casually, because as I mentioned before, it's overplayed. There's so much good in this one that, yeah, it's such a solid cartoon. I mean, what would you rate this one?
I haven't seen this one as much as you have, but I do know that I think it's definitely one of the best. It might be on the list of 100 greatest Looney Tunes. It's definitely a great cartoon. One of the scariest and very great for Halloween. Not one of my personal favorites, but definitely up there. And yeah, 8.5 is pretty solid for the rating.
For sure. But once we do the third in this unofficial trilogy of scary shorts, then we'll decide which of the three is our favourites. Because right now I'm leaning towards the second one, but again, I'll have to revisit the other two with fresh eyes. So, in any case, that'll do it for this review. So, thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
Must be mice.
Pussycats is the craziest people.